The ocean. It is so vast, and it holds on to its secrets. Today, we're diving into a story where one of those secrets is a man's life. It's a story about a disappearance so total, so complete, it left investigators with nothing but a handful of haunting questions.
I mean, really think about this question for a second. It's the core of this entire mystery, and it's almost hard to believe. We're not talking about a little fishing boat in the middle of a hurricane. We're talking about a massive cargo ship, nearly 3 football fields long, sailing in perfectly calm weather. How does someone just disappear from there?
And here are the cold, hard facts from the official report. The day after Christmas, a Filipino crewman, a fitter by trade, went missing from his ship in the middle of the Sulu Sea. And despite a huge, multi-day search, he was never seen again.
So, to even begin to understand how this could happen, we have to rewind. We've got to go back to the very start of his last day and reconstruct what we know about the fitter's final morning, pretty much minute by minute.
First, let's just set the scene. The RTM Zhenghe is a colossal vessel, and the conditions that day, they were about as perfect as you can get at sea. Calm waters, a gentle breeze, really good visibility. There was absolutely nothing about the environment that screamed danger.
Now, the events of that morning really just boiled down to 3 key people. First, of course, the fitter himself, the man who vanished. Then, there was his assistant for the day, a young Deck Trainee Seaman. And finally, their supervisor, the chief officer who had given them their assignment.
And what were they even supposed to be doing? Well, it was a pretty routine maintenance job. They needed to replace some worn-out rubber pads on the ship's gangway on the port side. You know, a task that involves some cutting, some welding, basically just another day at work.
Okay, and this timeline, this is where the mystery really starts to take shape. The day begins normally at 8 a.m. By around 8:51, the fitter and his assistant split up for a little bit. Then, just 4 minutes later, at 8:55, the fitter makes a quick call on his walkie-talkie. That was the last time anyone ever heard from him. And then, silence, for over an hour and a half until the search finally begins. This right here, this quote from the report, is absolutely chilling. After his assistant was called away for something else, the fitter was last seen walking by himself toward the ship's main storage locker. This marks the exact moment he walked out of sight and, well, seemingly into thin air. To really get a sense of the potential risk here, we need to picture exactly where this job was supposed to happen. The gangway isn't just some random spot on the deck. It's the bridge to the outside world, and it hangs right over the edge of the ship, directly above the open ocean.
Now here's a detail the investigation uncovered. To get to the spot they needed to repair, the crew had swung the heavy gangway just a little bit away from the ship's hull. And that created a gap of just half a meter.
And that half a meter, it doesn't just sound like a gap. It's a direct 15-meter, that's almost 50 feet, drop straight down into the sea. Even with calm water, a fall from that height next to a massive moving ship would be absolutely catastrophic.
So, the moment it was clear the fitter wasn't just late, that he was actually missing, the response was immediate. What started as one crewmate looking around for his partner quickly turned into a massive all-hands-on-deck emergency.
You can see how quickly things escalated. The general alarm goes off, the whole crew gets mustered, and this giant ship starts the slow, difficult process of turning around to retrace its exact path. A Mayday man overboard call is blasted out to every other ship in the area, and a formal search and rescue operation kicks into high gear.
And let me be clear, this wasn't just a quick look around for a few hours. No, this was a full-blown, coordinated search with multiple ships that went on for 3 entire days. And after all of that time, all of that effort, what did they find? Absolutely nothing. It's like he just vanished. No dropped tools, no scuff marks on the railing, nothing. And, crucially, his walkie-talkie, which everyone knew he was carrying, was also gone. The sea gave back 0 clues. So with the search turning up a complete and total blank, the official investigation was now staring into the face of a deep and profoundly baffling mystery.
The entire case really just hangs on this single question, this 99-minute gap in time. At 8:55 in the morning, the fitter is a voice on the radio, alive and well. By 10:34, he is gone. What on earth could have happened in that hour and a half when no one saw him and no one heard from him?
Investigators really went down 2 main paths. First, could he have done this intentionally?
All the evidence screamed no. He was in a great mood, he just talked to his family, he got along with everybody. Okay, so what about an accidental fall? That seems more likely, right? Given where the work was supposed to be. But again, there's zero proof. No one saw him go back to the gangway. And the new parts he would have needed for the job, they were never even picked up from the storeroom.
I mean, just look at what the investigators were dealing with. This is a list of everything they didn't have. No witnesses, no physical evidence, no sign he ever even made it to the storeroom to get his parts. It's a complete evidentiary black hole.
And so, after everything, we arrive at the official conclusion, which, let's be honest, isn't a conclusion at all. This one sentence from the report says it all. The authorities, with all their tools and expertise, simply could not figure it out. The fitter's disappearance remains, officially, a mystery.
But here's the thing. An investigation that doesn't find a cause isn't necessarily a failure. Sometimes, the most important lessons are the ones you find when you're looking for something entirely else.
You see, investigators aren't just trying to solve the puzzle of what happened. They're also on the lookout for any potential safety gaps they spot along the way. They're called incidental findings, and they are absolutely key to making sure a tragedy, even one we don't fully understand, doesn't happen again. And in this case, that process led to two very clear, very actionable recommendations. First, a simple but powerful rule. If you are working near the edge of the ship, you wear a safety harness. Period. No exceptions. And second, critical safety jobs, like being a lookout, have to be assigned clearly and in writing, so there's never any confusion.
And that's where we'll leave it. The fitter and the truth of what actually happened to him that day were lost to the sea. But through a careful investigation and by making real changes, the hope is that the lessons learned from his tragic disappearance are not. It's a somber reminder that some of the most important safety rules we have are written in the silence left behind by mysteries we may never solve.